could join me. Today I thought we would take a look at another vintage book. This one is from 1947, and as you can see, it is a Girl Scout handbook. I'm not sure when the Girl Scouts started printing handbooks, but this one is quite old and actually in quite good condition for its age. It is a textured green book, which seemed to be fairly popular for field books early in the 20th century. On the front, it has gold embossing of the design of the Girl Scout Handbook. I might zoom in a little bit here so that you can see the inside of the book a little better. And as you can see, it's quite small. On the inside is a young girl has written her name. At the top, Janine Swift. Droop. And there are several X'd out here. I think there was 1, a 2, and now the last one that was written was 5. And they have a map of the world, which is no doubt quite interesting from 1947. For instance, Finland is listed as Suomi, Finland. Iceland and Norway and Sweden, Scotland, Wales, Denmark, England, France, Netherlands, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Belgium, Luxembourg, Austria, Hungary, Switzerland, Italy, Tunisia, Greece, Crete, Malta, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Kenya, South Africa, India, Ceylon, China, Korea, Philippines, Guam, Java, Australia, New Zealand, Alaska, Canada, United States, Newfoundland, Bermuda, Nassau, Cuba, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Barbados, Martinique, Haiti, Greco, Trinidad, British Guinea, Dutch Guinea, Guatemala, Mexico, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Canal Zone, Venezuela, Colombia, Scouts National Organization, 155 East 44th Street, New York, 17, New York. Catalog number 20-101. For $1, you could get this Girl Scout Handbook. The copyright is 1947 by Girl Scouts, new edition. First impression, October 1947. Printed in the United States of America. Let's read about your new handbook. This edition of the handbook, more than any preceding one, belongs to you, just as the book leadership of Girl Scout troops belongs to your leaders. Girl Scouts in many different parts of the country have had a hand in planning this edition of the Girl Scout Handbook, which we hope you will find both interesting and easy to use. This book contains a new set of tenderfoot and second-class requirements, and a new arrangement of the curved bar requirements. The badges have been simplified in wording and arranged alphabetically. Some of the old badges have been dropped and several new ones added. It also contains a new program field, agriculture. Some of the new badges were written by Girl Scout troops, and some of the badge symbols were designed by individual Girl Scouts. The map project on page 292 was carried out by a Girl Scout troop, and the maps were drawn by 2 members of that troop. Many Girl Scout leaders and other adults all over the country also helped to prepare this new handbook. We are very grateful for this interest and assistance on the part of both Girl Scouts and adults. You will notice that some of the pictures are from the former edition, but the great majority of them are new. We are grateful to the artist, Jessie Gillespie Willing, for her wholehearted cooperation in this part of the job. We are especially proud to include as a special page in this edition a beautiful new setting for the Promise and Laws designed by Vera Bach. We hope that you will like this book and that it will help you in your Girl Scouting. Margaret Chapman, Marie E. Gaudette, Program Division. Reproductions in full color of this new design are obtainable from the National Equipment Service. Consult current equipment catalog for sizes and prices. The Girl Scout Promise. In my honor, I will try to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people at all times, to obey the Girl Scout laws. The Girl Scout laws. 1. A Girl Scout's honor is to be trusted. 2. A Girl Scout is loyal. 3. A Girl Scout's duty is to be useful and to help others. 4. A Girl Scout is a friend to all and a sister to every other Girl Scout. 5. A Girl Scout is courteous. 6. A Girl Scout is a friend to animals. 7. A Girl Scout obeys orders. 8. A Girl Scout is cheerful. 9. A Girl Scout is thrifty. 10. A Girl Scout is clean in thought, word, and deed. Won't be having any dirty thoughts here, folks. There's decorative filigree around the edges of this colored illustration. There's an American flag and a small ink bottle and a quill. There's a bird a theatrics mask. Stringed guitar type instrument. A set of keys that are crossing. We have a shamrock with 2 stars. Maybe, I can't really see what that is in the middle. Triangle. There's a bird, looks to be diving. The compass. We have an artist's palette and brushes. We have a rabbit. And we have the medicine insignia. We have the Girl Scout pin here with the clover. And the American eagle with the shield. A la Captain America and the GS for Girl Scouts. The Girl Scout sign and salute. 1, 2, 3, fingers up with the thumb holding the pinky in front of the palm. And then to salute, you take your sign and touch it to your temple area. And that is your Girl Scout salute. You also have a Girl Scout handshake. It's like the secret Girl Scout handshake. You make the Girl Scout sign with your right hand, and you reach out for a handshake with your left hand to another Girl Scout. History of Girl Scouting. Just before this 20th century began, during the Boer War, a British officer, Robert Baden-Powell, was sent to South Africa to defend Mafeking from assault. He found that the men under his command were not prepared for vigorous life in the open. To help them learn how to get along in the out-of-doors, he made up a series of games that he called stunts in scouting. He divided them into patrols with leaders of their own choosing. The men enjoyed these games so much that it was not long before boys in England took them up. When he returned to England, he rewrote his games into a program for boys, and then in 1908 Boy Scouting began. It was not long before the idea spread, and many boys belonged to this new club. The girls saw what fun their brothers were having and began to clamor for a club of their own. In 1909, a big Boy Scout rally was held in the Crystal Palace in London, where the king was to acclaim Sir Robert Baden-Powell, the hero of Mafeking. Imagine the surprise of everyone to see, marching with the thousands of boys, a group of girls dressed in khaki shirts and wide-awake hats. They were determined to be scouts too. Almost before Sir Robert knew what was happening, some 6,000 girls had taken up the scouting idea, and something had to be done about them. At the end of 1909, the Girl Guide movement was launched, and Sir Robert's sister, Miss Agnes Baden-Powell, became its first president. I'll show you why I'm giggling in a minute. Soon, girl guiding spread like Boy Scouting to other parts of the empire. Scotland, Wales, Australia, South Africa, and Canada, and to other countries. Suomi, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Poland. In some countries, the name Girl Guides was kept. In others, the name Girl Scouts was used, and that must be why there are only certain countries on the map in the front. The reason I'm giggling is because the young lady who had this book decided that the lady in the portrait needed to have some red lips. I'm going to pull this up farther so that you can see it. The young lady who had this book decided that the woman in this picture needed red lips. I'm going to pull this up further so that you can see her lovely red lips. Which makes me laugh. used to do those kinds of things when we were kids, didn't we? So this is Lord and Lady Baden-Powell, an informal photograph taken at the 4th International Conference in 1926 at Camp Edith Macy, New York. Look at their lovely smiles. Especially the very red-lipped one. Juliet Lowe and the Baden-Powells. A telephone call marks the historic beginning of Girl Scouting in the United States. Come right over, Nina. I've got something for the girls of Savannah, and all America, and all the world, and we are going to start it tonight. That was the way that Juliet Lowe, the founder of the Girl Scouts in the United States of America, announced the beginning of the movement in March 1912. The story back of the telephone call is the story of Juliet Gordon Lowe, a courageous and charming American woman from Savannah, Georgia. Daisy, as she was known to her friends, was born to adventure. As a small child, she lived through the siege of Savannah, when Sherman made his march to the sea. She had the exciting experience of watching the Indians hold their powwows, camping on the grounds of her grandfather's Chicago home. She had a great-grandmother who was captured by Indians. Now mind you, this was written in 1947. As a small child and lived with the tribe for 4 years as Little Ship Under Full Sail. In Chicago, this name was passed on to Daisy and was her special nickname all her life. No better name could have been chosen for her, for she was throughout her life a little ship under full sail. Juliet Gordon Lowe was given red lips as well in her photo. 1860-1927, founder of Girl Scouting in the United States of America. After her school days were over, she married an Englishman, William Lowe, and made her home in England and Scotland. Among her English friends were Sir Robert, now Lord, and Miss Agnes Baden-Powell. Through them, she soon found herself interested in the newly organized Girl Guides. She had her first guide company in Scotland, in a lonely village, a group of 7 girls, some of whom had to walk 6 miles to meetings. She taught them to raise poultry, spin and weave, and found a market for the homespun they made so they could help in their family's support. Later, she had 2 other guide companies in London, and then in January 1912, she sailed for her annual visit to America. The cable she sent her family before she left must have puzzled them. I am bringing home the biggest thing yet. That big thing was Girl Scouting. The telephone call she made soon after reaching Savannah was quickly followed by a meeting with a group of girls from Miss Nina Pape's school. And on March 12, 1912, the first Girl Guide Company was organized. The first camp was held in Savannah the next summer. In 1913, the name was changed to Girl Scouts. The uniform of that first troop was blue, and the first Girl Scout Handbook was called How Girls Can Help Their Country. The story of the Girl Scouts those first few years is a story of the tireless energy and enthusiasm of one woman, Juliet Lowe. The handicap of poor health and almost total deafness could not stop her from doing this work she had started, and wherever she went, new Girl Scout troops sprang up with her personal friends as the sometimes unwilling leaders. For 4 years, she financed Girl Scouting out of her own money, traveling all over the country to share her ideas with others, making trips to London to seek the advice of the Baden-Powells. She was not wealthy, but she found the money that was needed, even when it meant selling a treasured heirloom, her pearls. By the end of 1915, there were 5,000 Girl Scouts, and the organization had a national council, a constitution and bylaws, and a charter. Mrs. Lowe became its first president. Girl Scouts became widely known for their services during the First World War, and by the end of 1919, where there were 34,081 members. So in 1947, there are now over 1 million Girl Scouts in the United States. Interesting. Here was an early Girl Scout uniform. Their neckerchief, middle, and wide collar, and a brimmed hat. Let's see what else we can find in here. Skip over the troop and how it works. Oh, they even have a budget on a troop of 20 girls. So in 1947, their dues were 2 cents per girl per week for 40 weeks, which is 80 cents per girl. 20 by 80 cents equals $16, earned by the troop $15. So the total income for the troop was $31. Expenses. Annual national membership dues is 20 times 50 cents, which is $10. Troop supplies is $9. Community service is $3. And troop activities, $9. Total expense, $31. Budget B for a troop of 20 girls. Dues are 5 cents per girl per week for 40 weeks. 20 times $2 equals 40. Expense. Annual national membership dues. 20 times 50 cents is $10. Troop supplies is 12. Community service 5. Troop activities 13. Total expense 40. So basically they said, use all your money. Let's see. Here's a picture of a ceremony of the induction, or as they call it, the investiture ceremony, when taking in new members. And here is the horseshoe formation, the color guard on its way to the center of the horseshoe. So you have those carrying the flags, have the leaders here, the girls in a horseshoe shape, and they'll walk through here into the center for the flag ceremony. Different activities. They have the Juliet Lowe World Friendship Fund. Chests of toys to Austria and Greece. A sanitarium in France. Food parcels for Poland and Hungary. International camping in Switzerland. Girl Scout books for the Philippines. Uniforms for the Netherlands and Czechoslovakia. Some of the ways your Juliet Lowe World Friendship Fund has been used. Talk about friends around the world. The uniform and insignia. Here you have a Girl Scout. She has the troop crest, the top, and the membership stars. Identification emblem of their troop. The troop number. The first or second class badge. Oh, they used to wear their proficiency badges on their sleeve. When I was a young girl, we had sashes that went across the front that you put your badges on. The Girl Scout pin in the middle of your kerchief. Brownie wings. Oh, you got wings. Here we have troop crests, so I guess you got to pick an embroidered Then you had the numeral of your troop, a membership star was given to a Girl Scout in recognition of 1 year's membership. They have rank requirements for each badge. Agriculture, take full charge of an animal, a garden, or 3 different kinds of houseplants for a week, or help with the care of one of these for at least 4 weeks. Plant a seed or a bulb or root a cutting and take care of it for at least 4 weeks. Arts and crafts, make an original design and carry it out in any one of the following crafts: basketry, pottery, wood carving, metal, leather, weaving, color craft, needlework, or bookbinding. 2. Make and bind a notebook or scrapbook to use for a Girl Scout memory book. Community life, take part in at least 1 piece of community service. Do something that will improve your troop meeting place. Health and safety, show that you know how to take care of a simple cut, a burn, and a splinter, and how to use a triangular bandage. 2. Show that you know how to take care of your hair, hands, and teeth. Know the number of hours you should sleep, and the amount of water you should drink, and keep a record of yourself for 2 weeks. Know the kinds of food you should eat, and keep a record of what you do eat for 2 weeks. Homemaking. Invite some other Girl Scouts or friends to visit your troop meeting. Plan ways to make them feel at home and activities you think they would enjoy. Help prepare and serve simple refreshments. Show that you know how to do one of these: darn, mend a triangular tear, put on a patch, turn a hem, or sew on both snaps and buttons. International friendship. Learn about Girl Scouts or Girl Guides in another country. If possible, know their uniform pin, laws and promise, how they camp, and what other things they do. Get acquainted with someone in your community who was born in another country and have him or her tell you about that country. Proficiency badges. The curved bar pin, which is shown on this page, is worn on the left-hand side of the uniform or dress, and this says, "Be prepared," and has a clover in the center. To complete first class rank, you can be agriculturist, ambassador, a businesswoman, child nurse, a docent, entertainer, flyer, forester, homemaker, nurse, nutritionist, play leader, sailor, and a voyager. The Girl Scout program fields. Although they even have tools used in landscaping and gardening. You have a hand weeder, little clod, a sickle. Don't see many of those anymore here, anyway. A trowel, a hoe, a shovel, a grass rake, a wooden rake, an iron rake, a cultivator, interesting, a lawnmower, a hand manual lawnmower, where it just had little blades that went around. Spade, It's a square spade, a garden fork, and 13 hedge shears. It covers harmful insects in the garden, plant diseases, raising special crops. And here we have seeds, a young bean plant, the roots below the soil. You have the young root or radicle, or radically, root hairs, the young stem, seed leaves, foliage leaves, germinations. Here we have common vegetables in the parts we eat. A beet, you eat the root. An onion, you eat the bulb. Celery, you eat the stem. Lettuce, you eat the leaf. Cauliflower, you eat the flower. And tomatoes, you eat the fruits. Earthworms, toads, and snakes are seen as valuable creatures. We have farm animals, poultry. Oh, and this shows how to pick up and carry rabbits. Left, picking up a small rabbit. In front of the hind legs. Center, carrying a heavy rabbit tucked under the arm like a football. Right, picking up a medium-sized rabbit. Kind of like you would a cat, I guess. Behind the head and then under its rump. Dairy cattle and farming. Arts and crafts. Some good advice. Don't be afraid to try. Give your own ideas a chance. Make your own design if possible. Do all the work yourself if possible. Take the time to work as carefully as you can. Use your tools with care and respect. Keep on improving your skill. Be interested in what other people have done. Teach someone else what you've learned. We have use step designs all day. So let's see, walking, step, step, step. Connect them and make a vine. Oh, clever. Skipping, step, hop, step, hop. You can put cross hatches in between. Waltzing, step, step, close. Then you can draw little doodles. Laganga, step, step, slide, step, step, slide, step, step. So then you can draw some other ornamentations. A design may have curves, angles, or both. Here it has curves. Interesting. Here it has angles. Or both angles and curves. Here are steps in making borders. Put pencil dots as a guide to spacing. Enlarge the spot and repeat along the border. Add a second kind of spot all the way across. Keep on adding different spots and colors until your border pleases you. So here they ended up with little flowers and a wavy line, and some wavy lines at the bottom. In the same way, you can make borders in alternation. The repeating of the border. We got a house and trees and hills. colors in progression. So large, medium, smaller, all the way down. You can make surface patterns spot by spot. So they have a step-by-step design process. You can assign patterns for gift wrappings, couch covers, drapes, notebook covers, paper boxes. Here they have lots of musical symbols being used. Here they show from egg to bird. Birds are hatched from eggs and are always egg-shaped. So the egg. Then you have a bird without any legs or wings. Then you have the finished bird. Let's see. Oh, yes. We used to do this when we were kids. You'd take a potato, cut it in half. Then you would cut out a design on the potato and dip it in a saucer of paint or ink, and then use that to make your print on paper with the design. Here we have some embroidery stitches. How so many of these things you just don't learn anymore. Here's a chain. Stitch where you're making a loop that connects into each other. Feather stitch. Three weaving stitch. So the cross pieces and then, wow. 4, a blanket stitch. Quite practical. Edge a blanket that's coming frayed. 5, cross stitch. You make a cross on the linen. 6, buttonhole stitch. So if you slit your fabric, then around the edges you finish it off so that it stays secure. They even cover weaving. A cheese box loom. A box with the pegs on the ends. Run your threads between, and then run the shuttle back and forth over and under the threads that are opposite. A breadboard loom. So here you have 2 pieces of wood at the end that you put these U-shaped nails into, and then run your pieces that way. A TD loom. Connect. Interesting. Your pieces to pull apart and then rattle the shuttle. It attaches to your belt. Tube weaving. Got your little tubes. Pull them together and then start weaving over and under between the tubes. In the next section, after you've weaved your items, here they have natural dyes, onion skins, make a light brown, yellow, or orange dye. Spinach makes a green dye. Beets make a rose-colored dye. Goldenrod flowers, gold. Coffee is brown. Coffee is brown. Red Red sumac leaves are black. Red sumac berries are red. Carrots are yellow. My luck is I would get the poisonous sumac and then end up with a rash. First, you wash your item, then rinse it. Put it into a dye bath that is hot. And then rinse your item again, and then hang it to dry. You have basketry. Red cedar bark. 1 strip from dead trees only. Good advice. 2, boil for 10 or 15 minutes in water and wood ashes. 3, rinse off and lay on a board to dry. For grasses, cut the grasses and lay them to dry. For corn stalks, take out the ear and save the husk. Tear into 1/2 inch strips and then soak to make it soft and pliable. And then different ways to weave or a splint fashion, a coil, or a braid. They even have bookbinding covered. Architecture. We have a floor plan. And I think these look pretty much the same nowadays when you see them. A simple floor plan with symbols. So you have the window, which looks like this. Have the door here. A fireplace here. A cupboard. Let's see the color listed on there. A bathroom. A chimney. Structure of a house. You have the footing. Then you have the basement floor and the foundation, an anchor, a plate, the sill, the joist. Then it says you have a cross bridge. Then you have the rough floor, the finished floor, a brick veneer on the outside, a plaster wall on the inside, rigid insulation underneath your brick veneer, header, the sole or sill, the studs in the walls, the sheathing, then your wood siding, your eave closure for your roof, the top plate, a tie beam, the rafter, roof decking, which is usually plywood nowadays, shingles, flashing that goes around the chimney, a ridge board at the top of the house, the peak, tile liners for inside the chimney, pottery and sculpture. Have a smooth pot or a not smooth, where they used coils on top of each other. Your mass, then you can form it to be smooth. Here they have a template for the size of your pot. Modeling tools may be whittled from any piece of wood. Orange stick, bobby pins, meat skewers, or tongue depressors may also be used. Here we have some tools used in metalcraft. 1, a square. 2, a rotary drill. a planishing hammer. 6 square-nosed pliers. 7 hacksaw. 8 metal shears, or we call them tin snips. 9 a jeweler's saw. Here, a homemade metal mold. Hollow out a part of a log, set the disc of metal on top of the hole, and hammer gently with a hammer that has a round head until the disc is the shape of the hole. Tincraft and Tincraft tools. Looks like you have some candle holders. Looks like a recipe box. Type of platter. Some leather. A homemade leather tool. Take a 6-penny nail. File off the head of the nail. Bend the top. File to a smooth point. Set into a handle and your tool is ready. How to cut a thong from a round piece of leather. Just cut into a swirling pattern. Wood. Some tools used in woodworking. 1 a draw knife. 2 a mallet. 3 a chisel. 4 brace and bit, so like a handheld drill. 5 a gouge. 6 a keyhole saw. 7 a jigsaw. It's so interesting to see the manual uses they had for things. 1947 versus our more electric powered tools nowadays. How to drive a nail. Now, I'll tell you, I know how to drive a nail, but there are sometimes it ends up being the wrong way. Here's the wrong way to drive a nail. They say don't hold it at the very bottom. Hold it up near the head. If your nail slips, then your hand will be out of the way. Very good information to know. Or use pliers to hold your nail for you so you don't hit your hands. Community life. Service for your community. Oh, look at this. They have the Bill of Rights, the Amendments 1 to 10 of the Constitution of the United States. Talks about displaying the flag. They're in horizontal or vertical position. How to fold the flag. Fold it into a thin strip and then start turning the corners down. And then tuck that last piece up under. The Great Seal of the United States. The shield. Oh, this is interesting. The 12 Girl Scout regions of the United States of America. The New England region. The Hendrick Hudson region. Juliet Low region. Birthplace Savannah, Georgia. The Girl Scout Mariners. Girl Scouts Puerto Rico. The Dixie region. Great Lakes region. Hiawatha region. Covered Wagon region. Cactus region. Girl Scouts of the Philippines also that way. Girl Scouts of Canal Zone with a question mark. Railroad signals. I guarantee that most people don't know that anymore. Here are the most commonly used whistle signals according to the Standard Code of Operating Rules on Railroads all over the United States. 2 long, 1 short, 1 long. Approaching a public grade crossing. Well, now I feel like I'm going to have to listen to the trains that go by my house to see if I recognize what the whistles are. 1 long. Approaching a station, junction, or railroad crossing. Succession of short toots, warning persons or animals on track. 1 short, apply brakes, stop. 2 long, release brakes, proceed. 1 long, 3 short, flagmen walk back to protect rear of train that is stopped. 4 long, flagmen return from west or south so the train can proceed. 5 long, flagmen return from east or north so train can proceed. 4 short, call for signals, usually the engineer asking a railroad station telegrapher or a towerman for authorization to proceed. 3 short, train standing still will back up when the signal is given while the train is running. Some of these obviously don't apply anymore. Daily needs. Rest. Very important. Exercise. Water. Cleanliness. Balanced diet. Daily brushed teeth and bowel movement. Regular habits. Hobbies. Friendship. Good posture is important to health and good looks. Keep that back straight, folks. Keep your head held high and chest up. Fake it till you make it. Ventilation and heating. 2 types of window ventilators. A wood or screen. Before air conditioning. Using a lamp to good advantage. Everybody's around the 1 lamp so that you don't waste electricity. First aid. Let's read through this and see what things may have changed. Rules for a first aider. You should know the 4 main purposes of first aid: to prevent accidents, to be able to know the nature and extent of an injury or illness in order to apply the proper first aid, to know how to do the proper thing at the proper time, to know how to transport a patient in order to prevent further injury. Here are the things you should be able to do in case of an accident or sudden illness. Keep the patient lying down with the head level. This prevents fainting and further injury from falling. Turn the head to the side if there is vomiting. This prevents the patient becoming choked. 2. Keep the patient warm. This prevents serious shock. It's just as important to protect the patient on the underside as it is to cover him over, because he loses his body heat very rapidly while suffering from shock. 3. Send someone, or go yourself, to call a doctor or an ambulance. The person calling should tell A. the location of the injured person, B. what first aid is being given, and then listen for the doctor's further directions. 4. Keep cool and do not hurry to move the patient. Proper first aid should be given before a patient is moved. 5. Never give an unconscious person water or anything to swallow. 6. Keep the crowd away from the injured. 7. cause fainting or hysteria. Notify the patient's family or friends. You have your serving pieces. The spoons have a coffee, an orange spoon, a teaspoon, iced tea, dessert, a bouillon spoon, a soup spoon. Ice cream is a spork. Who knew? Oysters, luncheon, dinner, a salad or pastry, a butter knife, luncheon knife, and dinner knife. Serving pieces. You have a sugar ladle, a jelly knife, lemons, pork, basically, cold meat is a large fork, a server, cake or pie, berry spoon, a tablespoon, a gravy ladle, a salad spoon. Let's see, we have an individual cover, so how you're supposed to set the table. The knife on the right with the spoon next to it. The small fork in next to the plate, the big fork next to it. The napkin on the left. A saucer and teacup on the right. Your drink glass above the knife. A salad plate with a butter knife to the left above your forks. United Nations, International Court of Justice, the General Assembly, Security Council, Regional Security Arrangements and Agencies, Trusteeship Council, Secretariat, Economic and Social Council, Commissions, Demographic, Fiscal, Coordination, Statistical, Human Rights, Social, Economic and Employment, Transport and Communications, Narcotic Drugs, States of Women, the Military Staff Committee, Atomic Energy Commission, Specialized Agencies, World Health Organization, International Refugee Organization, International Trade Organization, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, International Monetary Fund, the Provisional International Civil Aviation Organization, the International Labor Organization, the National Contingents of Armed Forces, Land, Air, Sea. This is from You and the United Nations, printed by the Children's Press. Interesting. Dramatics. Kinds of books. Books of inspiration, books of information, and books of recreation. Finding books. Steps in opening a new book. First, you open it up about a third and press it open. Then you open it up 2/3 and press it open. Then you go to the middle and press it open. was for a period. A push-down space was a line with a curve under it. Close up entirely were two curved lines on top of each other. Insert at this point, which we used to call a caret, was a little upside down V. Turn over was a swirl. Move over, you have your brackets on either side of or. Let it stand is STET. Leave it as it is. Take out is basically an O with a little flourish. Make a paragraph. You have your little backward P. Capitals, 3 underlines or the word caps. Lowercase is a cursive LC. Italic, straight line or ITAL in cursive. Ooh, interesting kinds of songs. Rounds, folk songs, art songs, and original songs. We have work songs where you're swinging that old pickaxe. Sea shanties, a sailor. Religious songs, people in their hooded garb. Singing games. Ballads, you have a bard, and cowboy songs. Well, I feel like that's probably enough for today on the Girl Scout Handbook. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the past and seeing what they were interested in the 1940s in the Girl Scout Handbook. It's always interesting to see from something that's now almost 80 years old